Let's talk about working with email in PHP. There are a few things that you have to take into consideration. You're going to need a mail server, and also there are going to be different ways that you can actually work with different code libraries, object-oriented code or regular code. There's a lot of open source information out there that you can use, a lot of code, and you just have to do a Google search to actually get out there and find it, but there's a lot available. In this example, we're actually going to just work with the simpler methods of working with email and PHP, and for the most part, this can serve your own needs. You can use this on, say, a hosting provider's SMTP server that they give with you, the mail server that they give with you. This is going to be an easier way to get that done, and you'll see how that's going to work. And you can also do more advanced ways of doing this as well, connecting directly to a server as opposed to using some of the built-in PHP functionality. You may find that your web server works a lot better than your local machine, however, and in this example, it might be a little bit slower when we actually click on the mail because we're working with the WinXP system here, Windows XP, and we're remotely connecting to a mail server that doesn't exist here, and it's redirected there. So it takes a little bit longer. When you're on a machine that is hosted by a professional service, this is on the testing environment, of course, but on the development environment, I have the professional services going on, and you can put in your own information. And in the same situation on a production environment out hosted somewhere, chances are it's going to work a lot faster. Also, you have to keep in mind that the email addresses that you use locally are probably going to have to come from the same domain. Otherwise, you may get an error or something like that that says that you can't actually use the mail server as a gateway, which is preventing spam and things like that. That's pretty common these days. So if you stick to, say, when you're testing this, you have an info at your domain name, and then you have a webmaster at your domain name, you can stick to trying out those two on the same domain name, and then you're not going to have to worry about errors because it's going to be able to move it from the server there on the domain to the mailbox that it needs to go to in the most cases. But at the same time, this is something that really is meant for the server side. So if you can actually test the code on your server and just put it somewhere where you can just test it and not everybody can see it, of course, and delete it when you're not using it, so it's not something that somebody can use in a bad way against you, of course. But this is for the most part just going to send email instead of using contact emails on the websites, because you know that people can just take your emails and put them in their spam databases, and that's not a good thing. So that's how we're going to work with this section. You might want to take a peek at the next video where we're going to be dealing with actually working with this, and we're going to have these files open, email in PHP, and then the processing email 2 and email 3 that are going to set the stage for getting this done, as well as the session init, which is going to be in your include directory, and this is in the root and then in the include directory, and then you can see you can set up your mail servers. And it's very easy to get started with mail in PHP, and we can just continue and get into the exercise.